Denise, can you hear me now?
She's an attendee, so we can't hear her.
Am I on camera even if I'm not?
Yes, when you're talking.
You are. Just so everybody knows, these two devices here are called owls.
I love
And they are-
owls.
Yeah, and they are both, speakers for us as well as video.
You should have warned that rap when we walked in.
I know,
That's her.
Okay, we're good.
That's, you should know that sound.
The video points at you when you speak. Yeah, it turns the camera when you speak. It points at you.
Oh, God.
So if you don't speak.
His hand. Boost this. Balance.
We're doing a full blown minute, Steve.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Trainier,
Yes.
Gould,
Yes.
Mueller,
Yes.
Brissalone. Cowan. Here. Politis. Newquist.
Yes. Motion passes. Old business, we have none. New business- We have a little bit to get through. So number one, award of contract in the amount of $28,800 to White and Company for architectural services at Hidden Oaks Nature Center. Can I get a motion?
Motion Mueller.
Second.
Question. This is just the architectural service, like doing the actual redesigning,
This is actually the first step in that. So
Right.
this is the conceptual design.
the planning, sorry, I
Yes.
said the wrong one.
Yeah.
And then obviously there'll be many more motions to make that work.
Right.
Because I know you had talked about there were going to be some changes.
Right, and what we're gonna do is approach the project in phases, so this conceptual and planning period or phase is just trying to divide up the work, and then we'll release that work and come back to you for approval of those contracts as necessary.
And I just want to share, my constituents want a Springwood Park added.
Oh,
I know we're not in the business of Springwood Parks, but I have to advocate for my needs. Thank you very much.
We have a motion and a second. Does somebody want to do a previous roll?
Previous role.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number two, award of contract in the amount of $185,576.80 to D Construction Inc. of Coal City, Illinois for the Veterans Woods Trail Bridge replacement.
Move. Second.
Previous.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Question.
Yep.
This is the bridge that goes from the Veterans Forest Preserve to the other side.
that is correct.
I forget what the other one's called.
Yeah, one is called Bridge Academy.
That's it.
Yes, for-
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure it was that bridge.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Number three, award of contract in the amount of $281,134.15 to PT Farrell Construction Company of Joliet, Illinois for the replacement of the old Plank Road Trail Bridge over Jackson Branch.
Moved.
Second.
Previous. Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number four, award of contract in the amount of $35,000 to Skybridge Consulting LLC of Chicago, Illinois for professional information technology engineering services.
Motion.
Second.
Previous. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number five, award of contract in the amount of $67,200 to Unimax Management Corporation of Crest Hill, Illinois for the janitorial services at the Ilola Cash Museum, Sugar Creek Administration Center, Operations and Law Enforcement Facility, Four Rivers Environmental Education Center, and Hidden Oaks Nature Center for a one-year term beginning May 1st, 2022.
Motion. Second.
Previous. Second.
Any questions?
Yes.
Jinky?
Ralph, does that mean like it's kind of, is somebody else been cleaning it up till now, Hidden Oaks? Maybe
Yes.
the park district, because
Yeah.
they saw the daycare thing going.
So what we did when we took over is Unimax is our current contractor as well. So we did a change order for them to carry it for that 3 months.
Beautiful. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 6, approval of resolution number 22-03, authorizing amendments to license number 19-18 and number 19-19, the city of Joliet regarding the Humboldt Road Improvement Project.
Motion.
Second.
Questions? Can you go to previous roll?
Previous.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 7, permission to seek professional service proposals for conceptual exhibit plan for Hidden Oaks Nature Center. Excuse me.
Motion Mueller. Second.
Questions?
Previous.
Jackie?
Um, what's gonna be like kind of the focus? We had turtles there before. so I'm just curious.
Yeah, so, this contract runs kind of concurrently with the architectural, contract that you just approved, and it's also for conceptual. What we intend to do is to continue to focus on nature education programming, but also on community and facility rental groups, as well as some professional development, opportunities. Right now, we have 2 preschool rooms. We don't run preschools, and so we're converting those rooms into program rooms. One would be exhibit space, or additional exhibit space, which may need some architectural work as well as the exhibit design work. The other would be a flexible program space. So these folks are going to come in, take a look at what we've got as far as the exhibits, a condition of those, and then potentially expand upon those.
But we don't have like, well, I'll just use the name, Hidden Oaks. The exhibit isn't gonna be about oaks.
No, it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a number of things. So we'll still focus on turtles, on amphibians. That'll still be a focus. Obviously, nature and the area around it, the oaks and those kinds of things would be a focus.
I'm just kind of curious if we had a vision.
I think our visitor services staff do, but they want to have a little bit of assist on that as far as what they can potentially achieve within the space that they've got.
I know, you can imagine, I'm just a little excited.
I think we have a previous roll from Steve, right? Did we get a second?
Second, Turner.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Permission to bid, number 8, permission to bid the 2022 bench donation program at Wading Lake, Hidden Lakes Trout Farm, and Rock Run Preserve, Black Road Access. And actually, Ralph, I was gonna ask if you could just say a few words about this.
Sure. So we have a bench donation program that we run here at Forest Preserve District where individuals can either select and adopt an existing bench on Forest Preserve site or have a new bench installed. As part of that, there's a commemorative plaque. Typically, they're purchasing this bench in memory of someone or some achievement or an individual. And so with that, they get that plaque installed on that bench as well. And then periodically, we have to replace those benches. So like the ones at Hidden Oaks are, Hidden Lakes are both new benches and replacement benches.
Thanks, I wasn't sure about that. Thank you. Make a motion?
Motion.
Second, Kelly. Any questions?
Previous, Turner.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 9, permission to bid the dog park electronic gate improvement project.
Motion Mueller. Second, Kelly.
Previous.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 10, permission to bid habitat enhancement at Kankakee Sands Preserve.
Motion, Turner.
Second.
Previous Mueller.
Second.
Any questions? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Permission, number 11, permission to bid messenger marsh drainage improvements.
Motion Mueller.
Second.
Previous. Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Number 12, provide direction on the creation of a shared community engagement and partnership coordinator and executive director of the Nature Foundation of Will County.
Motion Mueller. Second.
Does anybody have questions about this one?
I do. That's the title.
I know, right? I need to get a little bit of background on this. So, since its inception back in 2016, the executive director of the Nature Foundation of Will County has been a contracting position funded by the Nature Foundation. Back then, the Forest Preserve District had an agreement with the foundation whereby we would provide some seed funding for them until they got up and running. The foundation's executive director gets paid a flat fee of $12,000 per year for the services that she provides. Over the past couple of years, doing a little bit of analysis on the amount of time that she spends doing that work, what we've discovered is that she's getting basically about $6 an hour, which is not a very good wage. But equally important, and some of you may know Cindy, our executive director. Cindy has expressed a desire to end her role as executive director at the end of this year. And so we're in need of a new executive director of the foundation. So that led us down a road of looking at different opportunities that the Forest Preserve District and the foundation might have with regard to both the foundation executive director as well as a gap in our own staff. Back in 2021, we had a community engagement and partnership coordinator. We separated ways for a variety of reasons I don't need to go into. But we separated ways with the idea that the executive director of the foundation could possibly fill some of those holes, or that we would look to fill those holes in the future. With Cindy's departure, that makes that much more difficult for us. So Cindy and I looked at other organizations like ours, peer organizations, Forest Preserve Districts of DuPage, Lake, Kane County, the McHenry County Conservation District, Cook County Forest Preserve District, and we looked at the relationship between their foundations and their executive directors, or I should say their organizations, their Forest Preserve Districts. And what we found was that all of those, with the exception of Cook County, created a shared position. It was a position where a person represented the Forest Preserve District in those community outreach activities, and they represented the foundation with foundation-related activities. So based on that, and it was certain, and based on some discussions with those organizations, we developed a job description that would provide both of those services in a shared position. Keeping in mind the foundation is responsible for the activities of their executive director. We wanted to make sure that we had that in place. So we developed a job description, and then I sent it to a group called, an organization called the Newport Group, which is a personnel consultant group that we use here at the Forest Preserve District for ranking various positions in our system. So we have a salary grade system from 1 to 20, and we have to figure out where positions fit based on their responsibilities here in our organization. Newport Group was able to find a number of existing positions comparable locally, ideally those ones I just mentioned at those other Forest Preserve Districts, as well as in the Midwest. They came back with an average salary between $60,000 and $106,000, which is quite a bit more than $12,000 that we saw, and we knew that going in. So the salary grade in the Forest Preserve District salary system that most closely matches that is what we call it grade 14, which is someone who would be not quite a department director, but someone who had some significant responsibilities. Someone like a natural resource management supervisor, or our chief landscape architect, or our digital communications manager, in which they were responsible for a large part of the activity that we do. Based on that, we're proposing an initial salary budget of $70,000, split evenly between the foundation paying $35,000 and Forest Preserve paying $35,000. We, the Forest Preserve, would be the employer of this individual, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, we have the means to provide organizational support to that individual. Plus, I think it gives this board a little bit more control over that position, which is something that I think is important to keep in mind. The foundation's bylaws, and the foundation was created solely to support the Forest Preserve District. But the better we align them with our goals and keep them in line with our goals, the better we are as an organization. So looking at our budgets, both of our organizations have the capability to fund this position. The foundation has the $35,000 annually to fund their side of it. We have those funds available as well. What we would do, the next step, and what we're going to ask for your permission or direction, I should say, is to develop memorandum of agreement between the foundation and the Forest Reserve District that would spell out the fiduciary responsibilities of both organizations, as well as the oversight, the review, personnel oversight of that position as well. We've set out a timeline whereby we would be out this summer with an advertisement for this position with the idea that, or the hope that we would be able to bring this individual on prior to Cindy's departure. But just so we're all clear, Cindy's not going anywhere. She's still going to be a part of the foundation, and she's still going to provide the training necessary for that individual. They would be reporting directly to me as in our hierarchy. And then the interview process would include both the Forest Reserve District as well as the foundation. Ultimately, the position is approved by you. The individual is approved by you. And that, just like any other hire in the Forest Reserve District, would make a recommendation. And then President Van Dyne brings it forward to the full board. We're looking somewhere in the October timeframe for that. And then you would see a little bit more information as we went through our budgeting cycle. You'd see that position pop into the budget. You'd see how we were going to accommodate that. So what I'm recommending at this point is that you provide that direction. You say, yeah, it sounds kind of okay. Let's get into the details a little bit more. And let's take a look at what a memorandum of agreement between the organizations might be. Jackie?
You mentioned salary. I don't have an issue with that, but you didn't mention health insurance benefits, retirement. And currently, whoever is in charge of Cindy, in charge of the Nature Foundation, there are no benefits, obviously.
You are correct. There are no benefits, so we would provide the benefits as well. One of the opportunities that, the intangibles that I think that we've really been able to capitalize on is that, and some of you know this, but Cindy was a 30-year employee of the Forest Reserve District prior to taking over the executive director of the foundation. Cindy knew this organization inside and out. She developed large parts of it over the course of many years. And so there was a familiarity between our staff and Cindy, and between Cindy and how we operated. We want to maintain that kind of organizational support, obviously with the new individual. But one of the things I've also noticed over the years is that as time has gone on, that connection between our organization and the foundation has become a little bit frayed at times, and things fall through the cracks. And that's because we, as a staff, perhaps haven't elevated the foundation to the level that it needs to be, that it's an integral part of the organization, just almost like an adjunct department of the organization. And so kind of holding the two together, we're able to do that. But yes, we would provide half of the salary and then the benefit packages.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm assuming that they're only putting in the half of the salary, not the half of the retirement bond or half of the health insurance.
That's correct.
Oh, I just want to be clear about what we're doing.
And I think what Cindy and I have talked about and what we would recommend is that MOU between these organizations be termed and probably termed for a period of 5 years initially, and that we work toward eventually spinning this individual or more of those costs over to the foundation as the foundation continues to mature. We've gone from, almost a million to where we are today, where they're funding tens of thousands of dollars of our programs and exhibitionists. They're funding our special programs that support our volunteers and scout groups like the Open Field. They're funneling wetland mitigation and other mitigation dollars into this organization. And last year, we were able to secure a $750,000 donation from the Dollinger family to support a capital project. So those are the things that we're trying to build on. And we think that this is kind of the next step. So I had mentioned earlier that we started the foundation with seed money to support them with the idea that they would eventually not need it. We timed it for 5 years. They eliminated our contribution to. And so they've shown that they've been able to produce and to commit and to reach their goals. And that's why I'm suggesting, again, another 5-year term with the idea that our support, some of those things we gradually decrease. I don't think I'd ever want to lose some of that control. Some of, having that person still be an employee of the Forest Preserve District. But if the foundation were to take on a larger role in the salary and maybe the benefits, that would be certainly something we would like.
So Rob, what do you need from us today? Just a motion to move ahead with the exploring the possibility of an agreement or however we want to
Yeah,
term that?
if you would make a motion to direct me to develop the MOU for further consideration.
Okay.
I'm not on the committee, but may I ask a question? What does the acronym MOU mean?
Memorandum of Understanding.
Okay, and also the candidate, would that be an in-person interview by the board or
It would
just on
be,
paper?
it would be an in-person interview by a select group. So we would have Forest Preserve representatives as well as foundation representatives. So we do that as a staff level, but we could certainly set something up where there was a level of introduction.
Just put them on the hot seat? Well,
Yeah.
we don't interview
Yeah.
staff, just they.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don, you have a question?
Thank you.
Good discussion, Ralph. 3 of us are serving as non-voting members on the foundation and, it's not a bad idea. It's just I have a little bit of reservation. Maybe we could talk about it. When we began the foundation, was the intention that it be a separate entity, 501c3, which it is. It's had a great deal of success moving along. I think you described far faster than anyone really anticipated it would be. My concern is that being a separate organization, and this person is essentially a employee of both. Do we have a potential for conflict and dual loyalties? I mean, what if there's some mission, if you will, that the foundation has, and that's in conflict with the mission that the Forest Preserve District has? I just think the board needs to be cognizant that is there a potential here where the board wants to go in one direction, the foundation wants to go in a different direction, and this person is sort of torn between the two. I just have that concern because they're not answering, if you will, to one board, they're answering to two.
Right, and I share that, and some of my concerns are also that if there's too much separation, just what you had suggested, where one could go one direction and the other could go another, would be inconsistent with the reasons that they were created. So again, I'm a little bit focused on the control part of it. But I think what we can do is put some checks in place into that memorandum of agreement between the organizations that if foundation, for whatever reason, failed to live up to their portion of it, that because this person's our employee, we can pull back some support from the foundation. Not sure we would want to, but I think what we could do is put something in place where there's this annual review of those activities of the foundation and a check between their goals and objectives and our goals and objectives, and make sure that they're aligned.
I mean, on the foundation side, we definitely need someone, as soon as Cindy leaves, because she's done a tremendous job there, but, I just want to express the concern that the board's aware, what the potential is here.
Yeah.
All
One of the
the
things-
gentlemen, Rachel, and Steve.
Just as a follow to what Commissioner Gould mentioned, some of you may be familiar with Conservation Foundation. It's an organization that we do a lot of work with. Speaking of those separations, Conservation Foundation was originally set up as the DuPage County Forest Preserve Foundation and decided to separate from DuPage County Forest Preserve District and go a different way. They had a bigger vision.
And I mean, they're all over the place.
They're all over the place. They're a great organization, and the DuPage County now has its own foundation. So, I mean, it all worked out in the end, but that is a potential that, you know, we've seen.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you. Ralph, I'm glad that Don brought this up because that's something that I overlooked is that potential of conflict of interest. When we talked about this months ago, Ralph, about this position, I want you to maybe touch on the benefits of having this person working for the Forest Preserve and the connection with the Nature Foundation and the possibility of capturing more dollars in that process, because it ultimately comes back to the Forest Preserve, correct?
Right, so the foundation, as I mentioned, exists solely as to serve the Forest Preserve District. We are the sole beneficiary of all of their fundraising activities and all of their activities. And so there's certainly a benefit on the foundation side. The benefit that I see organizationally is I can put a single person in a situation and they can represent both the Forest Preserve District as well as the foundation. Foundation isn't going out to secure sponsorships for our programs, for Food Trucks Fridays and the things that we do. That's a function of the Forest Preserve District. But the places where this individual needs to be are the same places. They need to be at the chambers. They need to be in the Rotaries. They need to go to the Lions meetings. They need to go to a lot of those organizations. Plus, they need to reach out into the business community more directly. And I think that there's definitely an opportunity for the Forest Preserve to maximize the number of partnerships directly between the community and the Forest Preserve District, as well as maximize those associations between the foundation and individual owners and the Forest Preserve District.
So at this last meeting for the Nature Foundation, we did discuss this, and Don, to your point, Ann did bring up these concerns, Reagan had kind of with them. And basically, while Ralph was saying that the Forest Preserve wants to control, the Nature Foundation was saying, we don't want you guys to have so much control. But it came down to the sense of money and dollars, and essentially, we don't have the money to hire someone at 60,000, let alone 20,000. So we did talk about the conservation and maybe over time moving to that. There was discussion of doing an annual review. Everyone pretty much agreed that you're not going to find a good candidate if their job's going to end of the year. So having a 5-year contract makes more sense, and then building the foundation so that if they feel they need to separate that control, they're at better financial footing to do so. So while it was brought up at the foundation meeting, after much discussion, we saw that at this point in time of the infancy of our organization, it's probably best to do this joint endeavor, and if it all goes well, everybody comes out, and if it doesn't, we have some time to make corrections.
I'm not opposed to it. I just think we need to have our eyes open when we do it.
So we talked about a lot of different conflicts of interest, and Ralph brought up a good point that half of their job is the foundation, half is Forest Preserve. So if you don't do one end of the other, you're not doing your job, and then
Right.
that should be left there. So they really do have to be good at balancing their own responsibilities.
And to the point too, is the executive director of the Forest Preserve District also sits as a non-voting member on the foundation. So there's some continuity there as well, both job oversight and foundation alignment.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused now because I thought the foundation just raises money and we do the policy. So if there's a conflict, they're violating what they're there for. So what could be the conflict if they're just raising money for us? I don't get it.
Where the money goes, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if they say where the money goes, we got a problem. Like me, if I was there, I'd be screaming not to do any more burns.
No, like programming, we bring in the programming, like the one at the museum right now is something that we can pay for as a foundation. So the Frida Kahlo one.
But it's our policy to do that.
Well, it's our choice as a foundation, if we want to put money in those programs, putting in plantings or putting in,
But if
management.
the point I'm getting at is, right, if you say, we say to do something and I have cash, and you guys provide the funding, then
We don't have
you
to.
say you're not gonna do it, then we do it. But there's a point where you're not giving the money, what good are you? You don't need
There's
existence.
a certain balance though between if we're offering certain programming, then we can go out and fundraise more dollars because people went to those programs, right? They enjoyed those, they want to see more of those. The foundation doesn't raise more money. And so while some of that money might go to programming, a lot of it goes into other functions like active management and stuff like that, right? But if we don't do programming, then people don't give us money.
But you don't make the programs up, we do.
If they make a track program,
Yeah, and to, I guess, maybe to clarify, from an operational standpoint, the Forest Preserve District is really the one that calls the shots. I mean, as far as what we're doing on the land and programming and those kinds of things, that's the Forest Preserve District's call. And to, another point, the foundation, we have to make requests to the foundation to fund certain things. So the way we worked exhibition that you made mention of, that was funded by the foundation. We applied for funds for $3,000 to bring that exhibit here. Foundation board agreed and then paid for, reimbursed us the cost to bring that to this location. I've always looked at the foundation as kind of being filling us out, a little bit of the icing on the cake, a little bit of like filling in the gaps where we don't necessarily work really well. We're good at what we do, but we're also a government agency with a lot of different things going on and a lot of different focuses. And the foundation can focus more clearly, specifically on building relationships with the community, on raising funds, and then supporting the activities, particularly programming and recreation.
Julie?
Ralph, so let's say the foundation board decides in the future, we hire a person and then they decide, well, we want to have more control or we want to fund other things outside the forest reserve. So what is the process we have now to address that? And what do we need to consider and implement to, just in case that were to happen?
So there's a number of things in place. So the foundation and the Forest Reserve have an overarching agreement as to how we're going to work together. And so some of the things in there is that we provide some support in the terms of office space, computer access, network, telephone, that kind of back office stuff. We provide that for the foundation. That agreement also stipulates what activities we're going to work on together, what they're going to work on together. And so there's that level of coordination and oversight. This is a little bit more specific because now we're talking about an individual and how we fund an individual. In the other agreement, it talks about, hey, we're going to raise all kinds of money over here and we're going to give it to you this way. The other thing is that the Forest Preserve District Board has control over who sits on the foundation. So the foundation directors have, when they're elected to those positions, it's this board that elects them, that appoints them to the foundation. So you have some control over the organization in that way as well.
Are we allowed to fire them if we don't like them?
Which one?
Hey, guys.
If they get an appointment, you don't like them, you tell them they lost their appointment.
We're not really here to debate the Nature Foundation board at the moment. I mean, we're really here, and you're talking about this, like, we're really here to give Ralph some direction. Is this something we want to pursue? And if that's the case, we're gonna have plenty of opportunity to debate this once we see something proposed in writing. I mean, we might just want to wait until then, but anyway, Mimi, go ahead, sorry.
I just wanted to say, I think, Steve, you made a good point that the Nature Foundation, especially the way it's set up, is actually, it's meant to serve the forest preserve. So, while I understand Commissioner Gould's kind of concerns, I see it as a flip, that this is actually providing more of an integrated link between the two. And it could, the Nature Foundation spin off and be like, we want to fund something that the Forest Preserve doesn't do, I suppose. But like, you know, Reagan Freitag's the head of the Nature Foundation. She's intimately connected with this organization, obviously. And not that she will always be, but the board is committed to serving the Forest Preserve. And this just provides that extra link. And I think also the fact that it's following a pattern that's been set up successfully throughout the Collier County region and beyond. I think we're following the lead of a best practice here, and it seems to make sense to me. So I think we had a motion and a second, so I will remake that motion in a second.
Okay, are we ready to move on? Then
Yes,
would
please.
anyone want to do previous roll or do we
Previous
roll call?
roll.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. I don't think we need an executive session, correct? Thankfully. Reports, there was a number of reports. Ralph, do you want to comment on any of them?
I will comment on a couple of them really quick. The goat grazing report. We put together a report on goat grazing, just the long and short of it. Goats eat everything. Goats eat- And they will do the work that we need, provided we have a herd of goats, which we don't have a herd of goats yet, and we've been unable to locate anyone willing to allow us to use their goats. Because what it comes with is that not only do you have to pay per day for each goat, but you have to water the goats, you have to maintain the electrical fence and some other things. So it's not terrible, but until we find someone actually with a herd that they're willing to allow us to do some of our work, we really can't.
Any reason we just don't buy a few?
Oh.
We're not talking about
Really here, sell them for slaughter, I would certainly purchase one.
All right.
Ralph, I did read the report. I saw that we've gone to Wisconsin and some
Yeah.
other areas for goats. Have we worked with the Farm Bureau?
We had, that's what we did. We
Okay.
reached out to the Farm Bureau. They did give us a name of an individual who we contacted, and they weren't interested in
But like interested in all that's interested at this time.
I get a sense that it was interested at this.
Okay, and then the place that Naperville used, who did they use?
They used an organization from Wisconsin,
Okay,
and they were unwilling to come further south than,
What about the butcher in Plainfield?
Can you
Used to
bring
be
that
the-
hands and ask
You
me
mean
what
Hudson
this is?
Farm? Yeah, he grows his own. And they butcher him. I mean,
We're not really in the business of.
Not yet.
well, no, but maybe Tough and Dick would let us, like,
I have a
Maybe you
suggestion.
should buy a herd of goat and not burn stuff and spend all that money anymore.
If anyone,
Run around on it, bad land.
if anyone knows goats that might be available, would you please just contact
Yeah.
Ralph separately?
I'm trying to Jackie about
Thank you.
because I've been asking this program for 3 years, so they can have it, you put it in the Nature Foundation or the Nature, what is that new one called?
Hidden
Center, Hidden Oaks, and have it as a petting zoo when you're not using the goats.
you can say a lot, you know, maybe three.
All right, guys, move on. Let's move on.
Yeah,
It is. So I don't mean to cut you off, but I just feel that talking about giving Ralph random goat suggestions isn't really, moving us forward on this at the moment. But like I said, if you do random goat suggestions, please give them to Ralph. That would be my suggestion. So, sorry, Ralph, go ahead.
Okay, there's two more reports in there for you. I'm gonna ask if I can just give those reports at the full board meeting. One is on the capital improvement program status, the 2020-2024 program. Gives you a little bit more time to digest that report. And if I could, I'd just like to focus you on the last page of that report that talks about grants and partnerships. And that in 2 years, the Forest Preserve District has been able to secure $15.4 million in grants and partnerships for a program that was designed as a $25 million program. So it's a way in which we match the taxpayer dollars with other people's dollars to, again, maximize the benefit for the Forest Preserve District. I'll go over that in more detail later. And the last is our permit summary for 2021. And I think if you take a look at some of the numbers, and I'll bring out some of that next week. But if you look at some of those numbers, we're doing very well as compared to last year, which of course was the pandemic year.
All right, any other questions, comments? Okay, our next meeting date is Wednesday, May 4th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. at the Sugar Creek Administration Center. Any comments by the public?
There were none.
Any comments by commissioners?
Yeah. Ralph, I think it's a great exit plan for 30-year veterans like Cindy Kern. I work with Cindy on ad hoc committee. I would tell this commission, that's a great boy, great loss to the foundation. And she's done great work in over 30 years for this sport conserve. Great exit plan, but she will be missed.
Thank you.
Anybody
And
else?
she's online, so Cindy.
Oh, I think-
She promised us she was sticking around.
Okay.
It's not.
Good, good.
Any other commissioners want to comment? Okay, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion Mueller.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
They sacrifice.
Well, been here, you know, the good thing about that.
You know, if we got rid of all the stray cats in this country, every person would have, in a row, would have to adopt 7 cats.
I'll take 7.
Cat, more cats in America.
I got you. I got you. Okay, Jen wants us to get started. Yeah, I have a place to be. It's called the JOB. Okay. Who's on the committee? I don't know. I just called it to order and, Meta, would you lead us in our pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we'll know for sure that she's gonna do a roll call. And I'm just here because Natalie ain't. Yeah. Totally go for that roll call. People escape. Here comes Frankie.
It was. Fred. Tyson.
Good Lord.
Do you want to wait for a second?
Here, I need to get after.
We can't start till she comes back in.
Okay.
You want me to go there? Let her.
And new was.
Here comes Newquist, all right.
Yes, sorry. It's okay, guys.
I don't think I'm on this. I'm not on this, right?
No.
Okay.
Just that here.
I'm sorry.
I guess I could. I'll go off. Weigel.
Here.
Berkowitz. Here. Pretzel.
Here.
Mueller.
Here.
Parker. Here. Brooks.
Yeah.
Newquist.
Here.
We have 8, we have a quorum.
Yes, we'll finish shortly.
Right
There she is.
I have a quorum.
First thing on our agenda is the schedule of bills. Did I miss something? We did the pledge.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You must have been in the bathroom, Ralph. Thanks.
Roll call, please. Newquist.
Yes.
Tyson.
Yes.
Fritz. Mitchell. Brooks.
Yeah.
Parker.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Pretzel.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Trainier.
Yes.
Coleman. We have 9. Schedule bills passed.
Thank you very much. It is approved. Next is the approval of the minutes from the minutes of March 2nd, 2022. Can we get a motion? Second.
So good.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Wonderful. No old business. We only have one item for new business, so look at this, is gonna be fun. Now, quickies. Approval of, unless Ralph has a surprise. Approval of resolution 2202, authorizing staff to initiate negotiations for one parcel in the South Des Plaines River Resource Area as part of the 2020-2024 capital improvement plan.
Motion.
Second, Mueller.
Previous roll.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Were there any questions about that? Okay. We don't have an executive session, do we?
No.
I didn't think so. And then we have the series of reports, capital improvement program, which we talked about briefly in the operations meeting. Make sure you read the last page. If you miss all the beginning, it's the last page, very, lots of money, 15.4. There we go. And then Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement Award.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to talk about it?
I do. So for the 26th year in a row, Forest Reserve District has received the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. So just a brief, it was created in 1945 to encourage and assist state and local governments to go beyond the minimum requirements of the generally accepted accounting principles to prepare an annual comprehensive financial report that evidence of the spirit of transparency and full disclosure, and then to recognize the governments that succeed in achieving this goal. It's a huge accomplishment for the Forest Reserve District to do this, and yes, we've done it 25 other times previously, but I think it's really important, obviously in the spirit of transparency and full disclosure. Really, a lot of the burden of creating this falls on our staff in our finance department. So I'd like to recognize them as well. Lisa Savage, our director of finance.
Awesome. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, May 4th, immediately following the Operations Committee meeting, but no earlier than 8:45 a.m. right here at the Sugar Creek Admin Center. And enjoy. Yes, ma'am?
Question for Ralph, going back to the position that you're proposing, one other question. That will be a full-time position
Yes, it would.
and they will be headquartered here.
That is correct. So we maintain an office for the foundation here at Sugar.
Yes,
Well, the bike trail, I've seen reports that this is gonna be refinished, sometime. Been several reports, but I haven't seen anything. When do you think this will be done? A lot of tree roots are coming up and it's a pretty bumpy road out there.
Yeah, and we recognize that. So the engineers are in the process of completing the final plans. We expect to release it for bid within the next couple of months and be under construction. So but by the fall of this year.
What part of the
Our plan is to do the lion's share of what the Forest Preserve District owns. So we own 2 miles on the east side of Frankfurt. And then we own another 11 miles on the west side of Frankfurt. So we may not need to do that entire 11 miles, so we may break it up in the way that we did it. But definitely the oldest portions first. So we're definitely targeting the area between Schoolhouse Road and Harlem Avenue. West to east.
And Ralph, can I ask about the trail in Bolingbrook along Weber? When is that starting?
Thank you, Julie.
We're still in the process of trying to identify some funding for the phase 1. So
Do you have any idea?
I don't.
Maybe a fundraiser at Hidden Oaks
Maybe a fundraiser.
by the Nature
Yeah,
Foundation.
it could be, that could be the start of it, but we've made some inquiries. The programs that we fund would be design development of phase 2 engineering and the construction, all require that we complete phase 1 engineering first. So that's a few $100,000.
So the money is not in the capital?
It's not in our capital improvement program at this time. So each year, what we do is we reevaluate that capital improvement program and kind of rearrange it based on either project overruns or project savings. And we typically identify dollars during that time.
Well, let's save some money and move our project up to the top.
Well, I guess Jackie and I can assume, and Mimi, we can assume that it's not in the capital improvement program for this year.
You are correct, but what I'd also like to point out is that based on some previous conversations, we are engaging our auditor to do a cash flow analysis for the Forest Preserve District, specifically to look at our fund reserve. We recognize that our fund reserve is in excess of what some recommendations are, some recommended levels. And so there's some funds there. And what I would likely do at the conclusion of that is come back to you, the committee and the board ultimately recommending a new fund reserve policy, identifying those reserve funds that may be available to assign to other projects. And a project such as this, the Weber Road, is a one-off, which is what we want to fund. We don't want to fund operational expenses with a fund reserve. But a project like this is a great candidate to include.
And I would like to share with all of our commissioners here who are not familiar with that area, the volume, the frequency, the use of those trails is huge. And it's that particular intersection at Weber Road and Royce. On any given day, you may see 10, 15 people walking on bicycles in that intersection, waiting to safely cross that street. So especially since COVID, the use of these particular trails have just exploded. So it's sorely needed. That would give people another option rather than trying to cross Weber, Washington. So I'd like everyone to consider that and, kind of, we'd love the support out there. Thank you.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Rob, I have maybe a dumb question. Did the Forest Preserve submit any requests for ARPA dollars?
We did.
Okay,
Yeah, so we've got a list that we submitted several months ago, and I know it's being evaluated. My understanding, I talked with Mitch a few weeks ago, is that the process is beginning to move a little bit.
We have picked up too.
Yeah. So I think that you'll probably, because you ultimately will evaluate those projects that move forward, you're gonna see our list of projects or a number of our projects hopefully included in the recommendations.
Were they also one-offs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did all of those and we targeted trails and visitor centers and things where we could have the biggest impact on individuals in the community. So not natural area restoration.
So this one wasn't included then?
What's that?
Was this one included?
It
in
was.
It was, okay, thank you. Frankie?
Will that list include attaching or branching the Old Pine Trail to the round barn in Manhattan?
Jackson Creek Greenway, we are in the planning discussion with that, so, I can share with you some documents, Commissioner, and, we just recently had a meeting with the Village of Frankfurt, Frankfurt Park District, New Lenox Park District, and Frankfurt Park District about just what you spoke about. And so, it's a longer term plan for us, but I think you'd be interested.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else? Okay, comments by the public. Ralph, is there anybody online with an email?
There's,
Comments by commissioners? I think we've had a lot of questions. I just want to echo what Julie said. We need your support. We definitely need that trail enhanced. Rubber is an extremely busy road. It's very dangerous. There are no sidewalks. There's not even really a shoulder to ride your bike or walk on. So having this trail come south would be very, very helpful. So that's my comment. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then yesterday, I think that we.
Yeah. We can get back. So, my jacket.
However. Yeah.